somebody, it would preferably be somebody who has a law degree, maybe an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I mean, after qualifying from the Kenya School of Law, he may have had some experience that may have been put into the advert, and probably, of course, a Kenyan citizen. Yeah, and any other qualifications that the advert would require.
Can a member, an elected member of county assembly, stand for that position as a speaker?
No, they cannot. They have to resign if they want to do that. They have to resign their position as a member of the county assembly, and then they can apply for these other positions. They can't.
Fair enough. Okay. Does IEBC have a role in the election of a speaker in a county assembly?
If they are asked to, they can help. If they are asked to, they can help.
But is there any legal requirement?
There's no legal requirement from the point of view of the county assembly. But with regard to the mandate of the IEBC, they can help out. Just like, for example, they could help out with nominations and party elections of a registered party in this country, for example.
So it is your answer that a county assembly can request IEBC to come and preside over the election of a speaker of the assembly?
Yes, Mr. Solanka.
You sure of that?
I think they can. There's no reason why they should not.
Okay. And are you aware who presides over the elections of a speaker of a county assembly in law?
A lot of the time, I mean, like, for example, in my county, I have seen the judicial officers, a magistrate based in Lodwar. I think I've seen them overseeing the election of a speaker of the county assembly.
Overseeing or presiding?
I mean presiding, sorry.
Presiding. So a magistrate can preside?
Yeah, he can.
He can. Okay.
Thank you.
You may need to look at the first schedule of the Elections Act.
Okay.
It's the clerk of the assembly who presides over. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes. Now, there's also this issue of the ballot papers. Where do they get their ballot papers to conduct an election of a county assembly?
I really don't know where they would get their ballot papers, but, you know, there are bodies in this country who can help in that process of acquisition of ballot papers. I mean, they could get the services of the IEBC, they could get the services of the National Assembly, they could get you know, the service of the Senate. I think it's possible for them to do that. But they can also put out on their own, because they're an independent body, they can also advertise, they can put out a public tender for the supply of ballot papers. I mean, the clerk can do that.
Can do what?
He can, I mean, as part of the process of procurement, I mean, they would be able to know where to source for the ballot papers and other materials they require.
Okay, again for your information, because this will lead to my next question, the law allows the clerk of the assembly to prepare ballot papers. Okay? Now, if that be the case, that they can do that, and we've had elections of speakers done in the country. We have 47 in all the 47 counties. Assume that you become a commissioner, IEBC commission. What will you do to ensure that we do not source our ballot papers outside Kenya in order for us to reduce the expenses that IEBC incurs by going for these ballot papers out of the country? What is the magic of having a ballot paper outside Kenya, not one that is done locally? And what will you do as a commissioner to address that issue?
There will be no magic at all. There will be no reason. I mean, a ballot paper, I believe, is just a ballot paper. But I think it's possible that the IBC can establish its own capability to be able to do that. I think they can. I mean, I've seen a number of, like, for example, the Kenya School of Government, or even other constitutional commissions setting up funds, or even in this country, there's a National Research Fund, and the capability has been developed in the ministry to be able to establish that. So the IBC can also develop their capability and establish that. And then they supply cheaper ballot papers to other entities in this country that would require them.
Thank you, Prof. And lastly, what is a ballot box?
A ballot box would be a box that would contain ballots. They could, I mean, in this country, I think there would be a ballot box for presidential ballots, a senator's ballot.
Just describe a ballot box the way the law would want us to have in a...
It's a box with an opening at the top where you just drop in, and then there's a lock, it's sealed, and then there's an opening at the top where you drop in the ballot when you are voting.
Okay, and also it must be a transparent box container, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, no, on the side it's transparent. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
thank you, Prof, and all the best.
Thank you so much, Mr. Solanka.
Thank you so much, Mr. Solonka. I'll now request Madam Elizabeth Mayo to ask you a few questions.
Thank you, Chair. How are you, Professor?
Thank you, lady.
Yeah, Professor, I want to take you to the case study you did. You were with us on 30th June, and you gave us very good write-up here on case study.
Thank you.
From some of the issues you identified, what you told us is that the responses to what you can do to address the challenges, one, on the 1 million voters who are still in the register, 2 million youth who actually don't have ID so they can't register, and on inadequate voter education. So what you said, three critical things is, one, you will remain open for complaints, if any, if you are appointed. Two, you will give solutions to any problem that may arise and that can jeopardize free and fair elections. Then the third one, you said you will hold free and fair elections and cultivate public trust. And you will remain fair, transparent to all stakeholders. I've gotten it right.
Yeah.
Please tell us how you will achieve this.
Now, the IBC really has the mandate, and mandate to do all that I've mentioned in that. The question of ensuring free and fair elections is in the legislation that makes the IBC do the work they are supposed to do. As long as elections are simple, they are verifiable, they are transparent, and it's credible, there is all the likelihood, if the IBC puts logistics in place, and they have adequate resources to be able to do that, and achieve that, then they can guarantee a high sense of transparency in election matters. The other one is, which is the other one? The other one is...
building, cultivating public trust.
Public trust.
Yeah.
Cultivating public trust requires that the IBC engages with the public. They identify the problems, whether they are internal or external to them, that create that mistrust from the public in their work. And it's incumbent upon them that they should address that, because, I mean, if they cannot win the public trust, in fact, that may lead to voter apathy. It could be a reason for a lot of people not wanting to vote at all. So they have to cultivate, and they have no option really. I mean, it's part of their mandate, and they have to do it if they want the Kenyan public to vote. So they have to engage them, identify the problem, engage them, get the resources, evaluate the effectiveness of the strategies they're using to get to those people, be open in the engagement, and try as much as possible to solve the problems that are creating the public trust.
Okay, thank you, Professor. You also said that you'll remain open for complaints, if any, remain open. So how will you remain open and how will you get complaints?
You can institute mechanisms.
Yeah.
You have, for example, the Directorate for Voter Registration and Partnerships in the IEBC. I think that's the name. There should be an opportunity for them to create an avenue or even a small office or a small number of people to take complaints, because that's part of transparency. That's what really transparency means. And so if you believe in that transparency and it's part of the way you're supposed to work, there's no reason why you should not listen to genuine complaints, try to solve, give them genuine solutions, as long as you want to solve the problem. So within that time, there should be a window provided for people to take in complaints. This is part really of public engagement also.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. My next question will be on a report, observation report, which was given in 2017 by the Carter Center. Yeah? And it was noted that while voter education workshops followed the same agenda, because there were various workshops, in some instances, trainers relayed inconsistent information about the marking of ballots, the participation of agents, and the validity of ballots, among other issues, which means there was no standardization. If you are appointed as commissioner today, how would you ensure that training of election officials in Turkana is the same as relayed in Mombasa?
First of all, the most important thing is a curriculum. Draw a curriculum, draw the same content, draw the same delivery method, and if possible, make sure that the people delivering in Turkana and in Mombasa are trained to the same extent. You have evaluated them.
All right, so that is Professor Michael Napoo right there telling the commissioners what IEBC needs to work on when it comes to ensuring that young people here in the country are registered as voters, and also how to carry civic education in terms of matters election here in the country before any general election is carried out. So far, up to date with what is making the headlines in the country. Another short breather. I'll be right back with more news making the headlines, including that IEBC interview.
This is KTN News. Are creative. They can really dazzle with words, and the people around them love the way they write. That is why at Sour Soap, we are giving all Class 6 and 7 kids in all public and private primary schools in Kenya a chance to dazzle Kenya with words in the Sour Creative Writing Competition. Just write a creative 200 to 300 word essay titled Colors in Life and share it with your English class teacher. The best essays in each county will be rewarded with goodies from Sour Soap, and the best 5 essays in Kenya will get a 3-day fully paid trip to Mombasa, lots of goodies from Sour Soap, and have their essays featured nationally. For more information, visit us online at pwani.net/sour-essay/ and talk to your English teacher. Terms and conditions apply.
Area code is back, and this time we are on the road.
We have the northern white rhinos and the southern white rhinos. What do we do about power outages? What do we do about shortage of water?
We moved to Thika because we needed to do our own fruit extraction.
As I come to a city, town, urban, and even rural center near you.
Nanyuki is known as a red river. How do you know the river was quarter? It's difficult.
As a hotel, we are also forced to close our doors for a period of 2 months.
A good roof is actually like having the best burglar-proof door.
For the residential homes is 28 gauge, that gauge, so that 2 gauge.
Join me, Timothy Otieno, and the entire area code crew as we come to a town near you.
The Area Code Show, proudly brought to you by Mabachi Rolling Mills.
Get CoverMax. It's more than just a roof. It's color that lasts with advanced color technology.
Lete mtadised kujenga, chakupeleka kwa dila wa MRM.
Ukiweka, umeweka. CoverMax, a quality product from MRM.
Wagwan. Why are bagging Russ? Always pan the phone calling. Keeping eye away from meditation. With the notification.
To get Blazing Rasta as your skiza tune, dial star 811 star 799 hash.
Not only the colors, it's the meaning behind the numbers. On the Trading Bell Show, we not only give meaning to the numbers, but we also engage industry leaders behind these numbers.
We think there's a good case to be made for more listings.
Every Wednesday, 8 p.m. on KTN News.
This is KTN News.
Welcome back to KTN News Center. We head straight to the KICC and listening to the IEBC interviews.
And what do you think they missed? And how do you think it can be remedied?
One of the things I noted, for example, was the opening of the stations a bit late.
Okay.
The stations opened a bit late. And then there were some which opened early, in good time, but then went beyond the time they were supposed to close, which I thought was an irregularity. But there may have been reasons for that. I was not on official because I voted and went away. There may have been other interruptions. I don't know. But I also know, for example, in my county, that a lot of people did not vote. So there was a lot of voter apathy. I don't believe the 50% mark was even achieved. I don't think they even got the 40% of the people who had registered to vote. If I had the opportunity, if I got this position, for example, the training and getting people who are committed to their work is important. It's important that the logistics are right. I'm not saying that mistakes cannot be made. I'm not saying that delays cannot be caused. It is possible, but voters should be given the opportunity if there's need for an extension, but not if it was not necessary. Voting should start as early as possible in time, Materials should be in place in time. Logistics should be good enough. And what may be more difficult is to get people to come out and vote.
Okay. So you have mentioned voter apathy as one issue. What do you think is the cause of voter apathy in this country?
You have just mentioned the issue of violence, for example.
Yeah, tell us.
Unfortunately, that is something that you still see in voting places across our country, or even before that time, or even outside the jurisdiction where the security apparatus is taking care of the elections. And a lot of that is caused by young people, unfortunately. I don't know the instigation maybe of politicians. I think what we can do, really, and again, I go to the matter of engagement. Get the youth, get the politicians, talk to them, let them know that it's in their best interest, because getting good representatives is really very critical in any constituency or ward in this country. It's the only way they can be assured of a good future, if they get a good leader, not through manipulation or interfering with the voting process and issues like that.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. I'll now request the Vice Chair to ask you a few questions.
Yeah, yes, Professor, I'll be very brief. Professor, what motivates you to go for this job? What motivates you to go for the job of Commissioner of IEBC? You have a very, I find a very, very attractive responsibility that you are holding, which you and engaged in an area that you love most, research. Why do you want to move from research to go and sit on a board that is just overseeing political matters and matters to do with elections?
Thank you so much for that question. When I worked in the Public Service Commission, I'm not saying I don't like my job. It's a beautiful job. It's a good job. I like it. And I see the results, and I'm happy. I want to make a difference wherever I go and in whatever work I do. When I worked at the Public Service Commission, I saw that I found out with the work we did under the Kenya School of Government also, it impacted a lot. And I thought, when I applied for this job, that enthusiasm, that ability to go for results, that passion I have and commitment, I could make a difference, because it looks like the IEBC has been ailing for some time. Of course, I'm not going to solve all the problems. I can't, because you go in there, you are working as a commissioner, among others, you arrive at decisions on consensus basis and so on and so on. It's not an easy job, I know that. But I think I can make a difference. I think I have the capability to be able to influence and influence positively and make a difference in the IEBC. If you gave me the position, if you nominate, you recommended me for nomination by His Excellency the President and approval by Parliament and his appointment.
Yeah, that's fine. But, you know, when you say your mission is to make a difference in what area? And you talk of ailing. What is ailing IEBC? That you target and say, if I go in there, these things with my drive and energy I'll fix. What are those things that you think are ailing the electoral body?
The one area where I think I could make a difference is in creating harmony between staff and commissioners, because it looks like it's an area that is not functioning well. I think I could bring that harmony. Another area where I could make a difference is in research. I know a lot of research work goes, for example, into the reasons for food apathy. There's no reason why that could not form an agenda of research for the Commission. There's no reason why, for example, the solution to disputes with political parties, with staff, with other stakeholders cannot form an agenda of research. And so on and so on, or even the delimitation of boundaries when that would be the thing the IEBC would be carrying out. The other area where I think I could make a difference is in education. I have taught for over 30 years at the university level. I've interacted across the breadth of this country with stakeholders in a lot of the counties. I know the problems in a lot of them. I think I could help in respect of education and get the IEBC to do well in that respect.
Professor, we are getting into an election, an election year, 2022. Kenyans would like to see peaceful, fair, accountable elections. What, if you were to be commissioner, what would you do? Research is long-term, education is long-term. What would you do as a commissioner? What role would you play to ensure that Kenyans have credible elections compared to what we've had in the past? What do you have in mind that you take the IEBC that would impact on the 2022 elections that would give us credible elections?
I'm not going to work in isolation with other commissioners. I believe that the commissioners as they are, they also want to carry out and be seen to deliver credible, fair, and transparent elections. There must be reasons why they have failed in the past. And the thing, when I go in there, if I went in there, would be to find out why they have failed and try to address those issues with courage, with honesty. As long as we want to get that done, we want credible elections, there will be no reason. I don't think with logistics and faith and good systems, there will be no reason for them.
You know, Professor, I expected that by your wishing to go into the commission, you already have done your research and you know what has not worked, what has worked and what has not worked. And you know that if I get in there, 1, 2, 3, I'll be able to focus on that. So that, because we don't have time. The moment the 4 commissioners are appointed, what Kenyans expected from them is to hit the ground running. And
one of the things I would do, sorry for the interruption, is get the harmony going between the commissioners and members of staff. Get everybody to prepare the ground, whatever that is. Get political parties, address their problems, let them promise you within the law, because the law is there, that it's in the interest of both of them, the public and the commission, to deliver credible, transparent elections. Get the undertaking from them that they are going to do that. They are going to support you. Get the National Treasury, get the executive to give you the resources that you need to put everything in place. Get the materials in good time, and so on and so on. Thank you.
All those things you have mentioned involve challenges. If you were to face challenges in getting some of these things to happen, how would you handle it?
The thing to do is to be able sometimes, often, not sometimes, but often anticipate challenges. If you anticipate challenges, you are able to find solutions before you get to those challenges. So the thing is to anticipate some of the problems from some of those activities you are undertaking. So let's go to do a risk analysis if you can. There's no reason why you should not do that, because that helps you to prepare for those challenges and meet them, provide solutions, so that at least you are able to succeed to a given and a large extent.
Let's take the challenge of technology, which has been a major problem. It was a major problem in 2017. It remains a problem. How would you tackle the challenge of technology in elections?
I'm not an ICT expert as such, but if the system the IEBC has been using is not robust enough, then replace it with a system that's robust, it's simple to maintain, and it's simple to operate. 2, get good experts to maintain and train people adequately, the presiding officers in every station. When you get to that stage of employing them and identifying them, get them trained. Make sure that they are able to deliver the results in the best way possible, in the way you want them done. Also, if you can, ensure that there's some backup, because, human errors are always there. Systems fail. So have some backup for systems in case they fail. But more importantly, prepare well so that you get a system that is easy to maintain, easy to operate, and delivers in the shortest time possible, and is affordable, and so on and so on.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair. I'll now request Reverend Father Mutie to ask you a few questions, Prof.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning, Father.
Earlier on, you said in your career life, there was a moment you declined to render your services to some institutions so that you can go back to Turkana and establish the Fishermen Cooperative Society. Is that true?
Yes, please.
Was it a paid job or a volunteer job? Were you volunteering?
It was a paying job.
So it was not service to the people of Turkana? To the community, that is?
I believe whether a job is paid or not paid, it's a service, because at the end of the day, it's the quality of service that matters. And because I did the best I could and delivered as needed, I thought I gave good service to my people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A quick one. What are your values?
My values. I value a good reputation. And a good reputation for me is the value of honesty, value of hard work, value of being able to be trusted. I value reliability. I would like anybody who works with me to know that I am reliable, I am loyal, I am honest, and I do the best I can to make sure that I deliver on whatever assignment I'm given. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Allow me to also look into some of the areas you touched, Ariel, on. You've worked as a commissioner for 6 years until 2019, from 2013 to 2019, is it? And now you want to be a commissioner for another 6 years. Is a commissioner allowed to apply to become a commissioner just immediately after they have just ended their term?
I don't think anything further stops me from applying for this position. And if you recommended me and His Excellency the President appointed me, as long as of course I'm capable, there's no reason why I should offer my service, because I don't think anything really stops me from asking for this. I feel that I could get good service going.
Now, Professor, in our way of thinking, is that you are advancing the agenda for the people with a disability. In all the interactions with the panel members, we have not, for myself, I've not seen you or heard you mention anything that you've done to champion their agenda. In a way, do you understand the challenges that face people with disabilities?
I do, and in my county, I've gone to the extent of asking people in the County Public Service Board of Turkana to make sure that in their recruitment process, in their training processes, in their promotional processes, they always include people with disabilities. I've also reached out to people in the county executive to ensure that people with disability are taken care of in terms of training opportunities for those who have not gone to school in trade, in helping those who are in school advance their livelihoods through that. I've also gone to the extent of encouraging registration of persons with disability in Turkana County. I've talked to people in the county executive and other areas where I have interacted with the public for them to make sure that they do that, because the registration...
All right, so that is Michael Napoo just telling the selection panel on what the IEBC needs to do to ensure that it has a free, fair elections. When it comes to general elections, he talks about training of returning officers, and also the IEBC needs to have a backup system in case there might be a failure system within the some of the equipment they're using to transmit the results. And finally, he's also saying that the IEBC also needs to have a simple system that they understand that they can